Welcome to today's home tour, where we step inside a world filled with Sweet Grandmacore Decor ideas that capture nostalgia, warmth, and timeless charm. This isn't just a house, it's a feeling, a memory of afternoons at Grandma's, filled with the scent of fresh pie and the comfort of vintage furniture. In this video, you'll discover how to blend cozy vintage decor, delicate floral patterns, and rustic details to create a space that feels like a heartfelt hug. Let's start our journey through this nostalgic home tour you'll love. As we step into the entryway, the atmosphere instantly transports you to a simpler time. A vintage coat rack stands proudly near the door, draped with soft knitted scarves. The faded floral wallpaper brings warmth, while a small antique console table holds a vase of dried lavender. Every piece in this space is intentional, from the weathered wood flooring to the soft glow of a vintage lamp. This Grandmacore-inspired entryway sets the tone for the rest of the home, inviting, comforting, and full of story. The living room feels like a big warm hug. Plush armchairs with crocheted throws invite you to sit and stay a while. A vintage floral sofa takes center stage, surrounded by mismatched coffee tables holding stacks of old books. The room is softly lit by table lamps with lace-trimmed shades, casting a golden glow over everything. This space embodies cozy vintage decor, where no detail is too small to create a sense of home and where every item has a sentimental story. The fireplace nook is the heart within the heart of this home. Above the brick fireplace, a wooden mantel displays framed family photos and seasonal decorations. A basket of knitting supplies sits nearby, ready for quiet evenings. The scent of burning wood fills the air, creating a cottage-style ambience that feels safe and familiar. This spot perfectly captures the essence of Grandmacore decorating ideas: warm, personal, and deeply nostalgic. Step into the kitchen and you'll feel like you've traveled back in time. White enamel cookware hangs from a rustic rack, and glass jars of pantry staples line open shelves. The farmhouse sink gleams under a window dressed in lace curtains. A vintage tablecloth covers the breakfast table, ready for tea and homemade pie. This is more than just a kitchen. It's a gathering space filled with vintage cottage vibes and delicious memories. One signature Grandmacore decor idea is open shelving that displays your most beloved kitchenware. Here, delicate china plates and hand-painted teacups take the spotlight. Mixing patterns is encouraged. The more personality, the better. These open shelves serve both function and beauty, reminding guests of the joy in everyday objects. It's a way to make even storage feel like a part of your home's cozy story. The dining room is pure warmth. A wooden farmhouse table stands ready for family meals, draped in a floral table runner. Overhead, a vintage chandelier with warm bulbs casts an intimate glow. Mismatched chairs add charm, showing that perfection is never the goal. Comfort and connection are. This space captures the nostalgic home decor feel that makes every dinner here an event to remember. A tall hutch against the wall is styled to perfection. Behind glass doors, neatly stacked vintage dishes, teapots, and heirloom silverware create a museum of memories. Seasonal touches like autumn leaves or spring blossoms keep it fresh. In Grandmacore decorating, a hutch isn't just furniture. It's a display of heritage, personality, and love for timeless design. The hallway isn't just a pass-through, it's a gallery of memories. Family portraits, pressed flower frames, and antique mirrors line the walls. A small side table holds a vase of wildflowers, and a worn runner rug adds color. Even transitional spaces can shine with Grandmacore decor when you fill them with sentimental touches that guide you gently from room to room. The master bedroom is soft, dreamy, and full of character. A wrought iron bed frame stands adorned with quilted bedding in faded pastels. A crocheted throw rests at the foot, and a vintage vanity holds glass perfume bottles and porcelain trinket boxes. Soft light filters through lace curtains, making this room the ultimate cozy cottage escape. The guest bedroom carries the same Grandmacore charm as the rest of the house. A cozy double bed is topped with floral bedding, while an embroidered pillow reads "Welcome Home." A small bookshelf holds well-loved novels, and a bedside lamp with a lace shade glows warmly at night. This space is about hospitality, making guests feel they've stepped into a storybook cottage where comfort and nostalgia go hand in hand. Tucked into a corner, the reading nook is a personal sanctuary. A vintage armchair sits beside a small table stacked with classics and a steaming cup of tea. The window offers a view of the garden, framed by soft lace curtains. This space embodies cozy vintage vibes, encouraging slow living and quiet moments. Core values in Grandmacore decorating ideas. Even the bathroom feels like a retreat. A clawfoot tub takes center stage, surrounded by wicker baskets holding fluffy towels. Glass jars store handmade soaps, and an antique mirror hangs above the sink. Soft candlelight adds to the romantic, cottage-inspired ambience, proving that Grandmacore design works beautifully in every corner of the home. The dressing table in the master bedroom is a true highlight. Crystal perfume bottles, pearl necklaces, and porcelain trinkets are carefully arranged. A vintage hand mirror rests beside a silver hairbrush. This setup feels like stepping into a glamorous moment from decades past. A perfect example of Grandmacore elegance that blends beauty with functionality. One corner of the living room is dedicated to crafts. A wooden table holds fabric scraps, embroidery hoops, and knitting needles. Shelves above display jars of buttons and spools of thread. Crafting in a cozy space like this is a cornerstone of Grandmacore living, bringing back hobbies that encourage patience, skill, and joy. The fireplace mantle changes with the seasons. In autumn, it's dressed in pumpkins and dried leaves. In spring, vases of tulips take their place. This approach keeps the vintage decor fresh while celebrating the passing of time. Seasonal styling is one of the most versatile Grandmacore decor ideas to try in your own home. Large windows frame a lush garden outside, and the design ensures nature feels like part of the home. Potted herbs line the sill, and fresh flowers are always in a vase. This connection to the outdoors reinforces the cottagecore and grandmacore aesthetic, celebrating life's simple, natural beauty. The pantry is straight out of a vintage dream. Wooden shelves hold glass jars of grains, beans, and spices, while woven baskets store fresh produce. This space is not only practical but also a visual treat, showing that even storage can be beautiful when designed with a grandmacore touch. Near the kitchen, a small table is dedicated to tea making. Stacks of floral teacups, tins of loose-leaf tea, and a classic kettle make it a charming spot for afternoon breaks. This little corner proves that grandmacore style thrives on creating rituals, moments of peace in our busy lives. The walls are covered with framed embroidery, black and white photographs, and vintage botanical prints. Each piece tells a story, creating a home that feels lived in and loved. In grandmacore design, art isn't about trends, it's about history and connection. Even the laundry room carries nostalgic charm. A vintage washboard hangs on the wall, and wicker baskets store linens. A small shelf holds handmade detergents in glass bottles. This space transforms a daily chore into a cozy ritual, proof that Grandmacore decorating ideas can touch every part of the home. Throughout the home, lighting plays a huge role. Lamps with pleated shades, candles, and warm bulbs create an inviting atmosphere. This golden glow enhances the cozy vintage decor, making every corner feel like it's wrapped in a blanket of comfort. From floral quilts to crocheted doilies, fabrics are everywhere. Layering textures is key to Grandmacore style. It adds depth, warmth, and visual interest. These fabrics not only soften the look of the home, but also make it feel more welcoming. Outside, a wooden bench sits beneath a blooming rose arch. Cushions and a patchwork throw invite you to sit with a cup of tea and watch the world go by. This outdoor space mirrors the warmth of the interior, making the Grandmacore experience complete. Every window is dressed in lace or floral curtains, filtering sunlight into a soft glow. This detail enhances the vintage cottage vibe while adding privacy and charm. In Grandmacore design, window treatments are as important as the view itself. A record player sits on a vintage cabinet, with a small stack of classic vinyl albums beside it. Soft jazz or folk music plays in the background, adding another sensory layer to the Grandmacore home tour, sound that matches the visual warmth. The kitchen table is always ready for conversation. Fresh flowers in a ceramic pitcher, a plate of cookies, and a worn recipe book create a lived-in feel. This is the heart of Grandmacore living, where every day is made special by simple, thoughtful touches. The joy of this home is in the details. A tiny ceramic bird perched on a shelf, an embroidered bookmark peeking from a book, a vintage key hanging from a ribbon. These hidden treasures make exploring the house a delight, reinforcing the magic of nostalgic home decor. Grandmacore isn't just a style, it's a feeling. It connects us to memories, slows down our pace, and reminds us of the value of tradition. The blend of vintage charm, handmade details, and cozy warmth creates a home that feels truly lived in. As we close this Sweet Grandmacore home tour, I hope you found inspiration to bring a little more nostalgia, comfort, and beauty into your own space. Whether it's a floral quilt, a cup of tea, or a shelf of old books, these details create a home that hugs you back. Thank you for joining me. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this journey into the heart of cozy vintage decor.